skull in bulk. Please help me welcome at this time, Jason Darby and Paul Shire. Keep it going. It's a long walk. It's a long walk. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Morning! Thanks for coming, you guys. And to the only panel that's at the same time as homeroom. Dude, you got a couch your color? Dude!
Oh, and please give it up for Rock!
He just called you Steve Curtis.
Yeah. Oh, Steve, you did it.
Okay, wake me up when it's over.
Okay.
I know, we need like coffee and donuts at the early morning.
Where's my coffee at the table?
Should we go back?
No.
It's like 10 miles away.
Dude, there's way too much seating and stuff up here. We got a couch.
You don't know what to do with himself. Look at his all
We
his
got the bar stool so we can
Over there. Hang on over there. That's what the other two dating game contestants have to say.
We're having a dating game. Did you know we're gonna hook you up?
No, it's the dated game where you just prove how old you are. Oh, Lord. It's going to be one of those days.
Oh, man.
This is the only panel where they sort of stank up.
I was going to say, it's not to throw a year out there to bruise some egos, but this show has been around a
We're
while.
old, we know.
31 years now.
31. Thank
We
you.
were all 5 years old, really tall for our age, so you know. Happy birthday to Polly, guys.
I'm 54 years old today. And you can still remain cool at my age as long as you get more roses and skulls and crap on your pants. Boston.
So, with a show like Power Rangers, there's no way that when you all first began that you thought, hey, here in 2024, we would still be celebrating the show, the fandom would continue to grow. Can you tell us a little bit about that, starting off, and what you thought this would be?
Well, we were hoping they would grow because they were 3 years old, so they didn't grow. I mean, if they get enough sunlight, then they can, and then if you feed them, they continue to grow, actually. That's why you shouldn't feed your children.
We love them when they're young. We just keep them that way. That's not their growth.
Lots of coffee when they're great.
Yeah, honestly though, I mean, how could any of us have ever known
Never.
that it would evolve to this? I'm super grateful personally, that the fans, you guys have kept it alive for so long. So thank you for that. Give yourselves some hands. Thanks to the internet and Comic-Cons and social media all converging at the same time.
And the fact that the show will not die. Just keep making it.
That's right. You cannot vaccinate against this show.
I mean, have you done the zombie reboot yet? Where,
That's where they have all of us back. Always and always.
All the damn zombies. Oh, God, it's not that. Oh, not a zombie.
I rolled up in my wheelchair.
Short themed wheelchair.
Is that the spin-off of Walking Red?
Milo, you're the moderator.
Moderators in there.
So, just Karen and Steve, were you aware of the show and how big it was when you all came aboard, when you all auditioned?
I heard of it, but I never watched it because I was in high school. So I was like graduating high school and I was applying to college. I wasn't too cool. I was like, I gotta go to college.
Yeah.
And, but they told me about an audition and I mean, we showed up and there were thousands of people in line. And I was like, oh shoot, I need to watch this. Like this is, it was like, the #1 kid show in the world. So I literally was probably the only person who'd never heard of it. But I quickly found out really quick how big it was and how successful it was, and I mean, I was blown away.
I was very familiar with the show. I was watching it daily because when I was back then, I was a martial arts instructor and I was teaching kids martial arts. That was my job. And so I used to, anything martial arts on TV or movies, I watched all the time. I was obsessed with all of that. So I was very familiar with Power Rangers, and I used to watch Power Rangers and go, can't do what those guys are doing. I didn't get an opportunity or anything like that, and just randomly, out of the blue, I heard about some audition they were holding, and so that's when I went to the audition and found out about it. But I was familiar with the show, so when we did our second audition,
Yeah, I knew that.
we put everybody together, guys, when we say it's Morphin, I got to put your hair behind that.
Yeah, he told us how to do it. We were
And
like,
after that, they were impressed by that, because all the other people didn't know, all the other people
we
that were
quickly
auditioning.
became a group. Me and Johnny, and like,
Yeah.
Steve was like behind me, he was like, okay, this is ours to lose. okay, and like when then he literally said it again, let's go, it's Morphin time. And we did, and they were like, I mean, they started clapping.
They totally expected that.
Everybody else, it's Morphin time! Where did my head go?
Crazy.
Picture that?
So before Power Rangers, I'll let you know Jason Nervy was a parts delivery driver for Ford Motor Company.
You're welcome, society.
And I was a live show announcer for the U.S. high diving team at Six Flags Magic Mountain Park.
You didn't know that?
Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. high diving team! There they are! They died and they're like, you're welcome. A bunch of college athletes using pseudonyms so they didn't violate their NCAA non-professional work. This is Jim. Jim's totally Latin. He's from Colombia. And he's a woman.
I told him, I was like, I'm just gonna sit there and laugh. I'll let you guys do it all.
Paul, Jason,
Yeah.
how soon on the show did you two become like best friends? And you know, as you can see, it's just an ongoing thing for 30 or for years.
Yeah, it's the voice in your head that doesn't stop. There's medication for that now. No, Norby!
I mean, the callback. At the callback, you know, they went to the audition without Paulie, but Paulie had done the pilot with a different skull. And then at the callback, that was the callback, was to pair me up with Paulie and see if it worked. And so I met Paulie on the set. He was already in wardrobe and all that stuff. And basically the first thing he said to me was, let's get to work. And which is what we did, and we've been doing it ever since. We have similar backgrounds. You know, yes, we have both done theater together. We've watched way too much Three Stooges together. So we had a similar sixth sense of humor, and that helped. You know, so we just, right off the bat, we spoke the
Did
same.
you guys know each other before? Oh, okay, all right.
It's so amazing. Yeah.
I still don't know.
But, you know,
Strangers to me.
it was always amazing, guys. Like when these guys would come on set, you know, even though like, you know, you couldn't hear the theme music that they would put on, so you were in your head, you were hearing the theme music doing their thing. And every time the director would yell cut, the whole crew was all just chuckling and laughing about all these antics that these guys would do, all their physical comedy and everything is so funny.
Yeah, and they would do it over and over again, and every take would be different, and it would just work. It'd be funnier, funnier, and funnier. So it's very cool to watch.
Improvisation with these guys as well, and the director.
Well, we were desperate to do anything because they made us wait around like 10 hours before all you primary color people standing in a line and turning to observe the viewing load in unison, like you know, dancers.
You're kind of like when you come home, your dog's gonna be like penned up all day long.
That's exactly.
I smell the shit. I told you to do a little pee pad.
See? This is all the time. It's not even an act, it's like natural.
Golden Skull branded pee pads.
I see a big business, that is good.
It's a sort of just your face.
It's always a con.
It's a growing business. Oh God, it's growing, it's growing.
I'll buy you one of those shelves that I have.
Very funny.
Power Ranger adult diapers. 5 different colors.
Home now for us. There's some right now. You can't tell, right?
Well, I can tell you have no socks.
So dry.
No socks. No socks, Steve.
I don't believe in socks anymore.
Any other incontinence questions?
As you mentioned about the physical comedy, James Paul, so was that something that you all did in your auditions? Like, can you tell us about your audition process?
Sure. I showed up to my audition very early before the series or even the promo pilot started, and I knew there was 4 or 5 other fat guys that were showing up for this role, and I decided to go 20 minutes early before my audition time. And one of the producers was like, oh, you're here for that. Oh, well, you're here a little early. Well, why don't you just come on in and we'll get going? And that was it. Like, basically, I kind of showed up early, which is always good advice.
Yeah.
If you're not early, you're late.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got to step in for one of the writers/producers, Tony Oliver, who is the voice of Rick Hunter in Robotech, my favorite cartoon. And so, and then it was basically looking back at my own theatrical experience. So yes, a lot of fighting experience, a lot of swordplay experience, doing Shakespearean shows as an equity actor in Los Angeles. And Narvi's similar background. So the physical comedy was just part of our DNA walking into jobs, and then we just dovetailed together.
Yeah. At one point during my audition, they had asked if I could do, because my audition, I don't know about yours, but mine was in that boardroom up in the studio in Culver City. And so it was a small boardroom with a big table in the middle. And so they had me run dialogue, and they were like, we don't like dialogue that much, we can improvise, and I did. But then after being there for about 10 minutes, and they really had me improvise a lot of easy stuff, like, hey, why don't you get up on Ellen? We're gonna do up. Like, hey, Ellen, how you doing?
Yeah, well, you might remember the characters were total sexual harassment.
Totally. So they asked me to sexually harass the producer. I'm like, oh, that's a twist. Usually this producer sexually harass. Okay,
Things that have not aged well since the 90s.
no, that is one of them. So then they asked me if I could do physical comedy. I'm like, that's insulting. I'm an actor. I'm out of here. And so I go to leave the boardroom and I smack the door on my head and I flipped over to their desk. And there are papers everywhere.
You're hired.
You can destroy all the other auditioners' information, and then only.
And then they don't remember us.
Right.
Sorry, Jim. Jim, go ahead and dive in the show.
It's okay.
Oh, man.
I didn't remember Jim was a girl. See what I'm saying?
If you would have seen it, you couldn't forget. Right?
We're not going to go there.
So we can, if you have questions, feel free to start lining up. As folks are starting to line up, I want to ask you my favorite question here before we, and that is, while doing these shows, while doing conventions, has there been, and Steve, I know I've asked you this question before, has there been, either in the green room, at a table next to you, across the way, has there been another celebrity guest at one of these shows that you saw and you kind of just fanboyed out about? Either you couldn't speak or maybe you spoke too much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's anyone that ever like spoke too much or whatever. I don't think I've turned anybody off that I met, but I actually fangirled a little bit. You know, one of the big ones for me was I was a big fan of the Karate Kid growing up. So to meet, Billy Zabka and Ralph Macchio back in the day, like that for me was like, because that was the movie that got me started in martial arts, you know? So that was incredible. And then I got to meet really cool people like Burt Reynolds and like all kinds of people.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, and of course Stan Lee, you know, and recently I got to meet Tom Welling. Well, actually,
I saw this totally fangirls.
There were many times that I have been at Comic Con with Tom Welling, but never got the courage or the opportunity to meet him. But so I was sitting at my booth, which was like the Ranger Stop, because we were promoting Ranger Stop at one of these shows, and I think we were in Indiana. And all of a sudden, this figure just walks right past my table and starts walking around the shelves and looking at Power Rangers stuff. And I'm like, what's my table like that? Oh my God, it's Tom Welling. I was like, hey, honey. And I was like, bro, anything you want, anything you want. Literally, he bought like, $200 worth of toys for his kids, and I was like, you can have it all. And I was like, picture, please. Sure. So anyway, but I think he was like more excited, like signing some stuff for his kids and stuff. That was pretty fun. So, that was exciting. And I think that was probably the most that I can grow because I love Smallville. I watched all the.
We approached this, the answer to this question from Bulk and Skull as follows. What famous actors hate Bulk and Skull?
No one.
We're a little loud. I'll tell you right now. Buck Rogers does not like Bulk and Skull. Deanna Troy from Star Trek. Definitely does not like Bulk and Skull.
Oh no, we almost got into a fist fight practically. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in Lexington, we get a couch that they get from the thrift store that they're about to throw away, and then we destroy it.
Yeah.
It's kind of gag, right? We rip this couch to shreds, and she thought that we were just vandalizing stuff.
As sweet as she sounds as Council Troy on Star Trek, and as she has received British pronunciation, she went all cocky on us. What the fuck you doing there? What you think your old battle at? So it's couch here, you can't make out that. But she got all street and stuff.
No, really, you're supposed to be a mind reader. It's a bit, babe.
I think Paul Freeman got us out of that one because she buddies Paul Freeman.
Yeah.
And she thought we were buddies with Paul Freeman. And
And
now
Paul's like, oh, it's all right, but there it is.
But the next time I saw her, it was all like kisses and smooches and she was very sweet.
Yeah.
She's dead to me. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Freeman is Ivan Ooze, by the way. That's for those of you who are not sure.
It's also
We'll also be at
Bella.
Ranger Stop this year, next month, in Atlanta, if you guys can make it. Great. Plug.
Shameless.
Okay, question, go for it.
So, what stories would you guys like to do, like in live action from the comics, such as the Lord Dragon storyline stuff?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of like the Boom Studio comic storylines that are like really, really good, like the whole Shattered Grid, Necessary Evil, all of those. So it would be great. I mean, there's endless material that they could
I just want to do the part where Aisha gets a boyfriend, finally. I want a boyfriend in the comic.
Rocky was always
Finally. Rocky, you said that?
No, I never did. Even the blind girl didn't want to go out.
The blind girl didn't want to go out?
Yeah.
Dang.
All the girls that I was trying to hit on were like, no.
Well, I'll say this is what we do like about the comics in general, is that, look, there's a big debate whether or not they should make Power Rangers darker, like Shattered Grid, or, how to age the characters. And I like comic books in general because they don't necessarily have to go darker to give character development to all the characters. And the writers that do that put a lot of thought into how to update those characters and give all of the characters the kind of character development we never got in the show. So yeah, just about anything from the comics is pretty
Yeah, like Bulk and Skull become Power Rangers, right? The orange and the purple Rangers. And Skull's parent sword, its only power is to fly away when attacked. That's true. And I'm a pig, which is shocking, really.
So my original question was going to be, how much of your own personalities do you put into your characters? But as we can see, that's already been answered.
All of it.
So my question is going to be, there's a lot of physical comedy that was done. Bulk and Skull, my favorite was the Bulk Witch, where you guys had that gigantic sandwich that just fell apart on you. Would you say, is there any sort of any sort of pop comedy, physical comedy that you guys would consider your favorite? And of those, are you happy with the way that you have portrayed the characters, Bulk, Skull, Rocky, and Aisha? Are you guys happy with the way that you
I have no
guys...
idea what you just said. It's giving me like the
You've been
guys happy
branded
with the way that you have
24
portrayed the
hours.
It's like
characters?
changing my life.
I felt pretty.
I think Aisha finally got a boyfriend.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I don't think they really had like any, idea what Rocky's character would be like. One of the fortunate things for me is that Paul Schreier, because I had never done any acting before, I was basically thrown into the deep end on this show. I was a martial artist and a gymnast, that's what got me on the show. But I knew nothing about lighting, camera angles, or acting, or any of that stuff. So Paulie,
Yes, that was that.
yeah, it really was. Go back and rewatch those and be like, oof, you stink.
You know, around the third year, you began to move your neck.
Right. Paulie was my acting coach. He was my acting coach, and he really helped me.
You guys did a good job. You guys were thrown into the thick.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, I just had no experience at all. And so in the beginning, I think, they kept my lines short. And, giving time to develop. But by the time that Seal had come around, there was, more character development for Rocky. But in the beginning, I think they just, put him in class, sleeveless shirts, look like Jason, and we'll just kind of hope that people.
They put him into Austin's costume.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely right.
Do they do the same thing with you?
Yeah, they did the same thing. Like I didn't really get any new clothes. They just kind of hemmed everything. Like, because I was shorter than her, so it's like my suit had, tweed and the inside. So we wore the same suit.
Yeah.
I wore big, thick socks because her foot was like half the size bigger than mine. So we wore same boots, everything. Luckily for me though, they just were like, they were like, just, I was a teenager, I was 18, so they were like, just do what you're doing and just be bubbly, and so I just went for it, I did
You
so.
also had some acting experience.
I had some acting experience, but it was like, for me, this was like my first time being like a series regular, so I just was like, I just went for it. I was like, okay, either I'm gonna get it right or I'll get it wrong. They'll tell me. So I just kept going, and luckily, they actually told me at one point, don't watch the show because we don't want you to be like Trini. We want Aisha to be completely different. And so I was like, I could never be. And she was so graceful, and I was more like sassy, and so I was glad that they were encouraging me to keep that going. So.
Hello. Hey. So my question is for all four of you. Steve and Karen, I know that you guys took over the spirit of the Tyrannosaurus and saber-toothed tiger when you took over. However, and then Bulk and Skull, you guys had the Purple and Orange Rangers. Thinking about it now, if you guys could choose any spirit of dinosaur or creature to have your Power Ranger represent, what would it be for all four of you?
And it has to be a dinosaur.
No, dinosaur or creature.
Or a critter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty tough to beat the Red Dragon Dinosaur. That was my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
So cool.
I've always said I think Skull should have been a coyote. Like looking for the stray dog out there to eat, gonna hang out like in the back of the forest while all the other animals like, we're going hunting. Oh no, I'm running for freedom. I'm grateful. I'm like, I haven't had a bath in 6.5 years. Now you're a cat.
I'm pretty good being the pig ranger. I mean, you just might as well embrace it.
I like saber-tooth tiger. I thought that was so strong for a woman, and for it to go have a girl do that, I thought it was really cool.
Did it go back to saber-tooth tiger to like Griffin?
Yeah, saber-tooth tiger, Griffin.
That's really nice. Gryffindor.
Although we have often referred to you as Mama Bear.
Mama Bear,
We
yeah.
have often referred to you as Mama Bear.
Well, and I became the bear in the movie.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the bear was perfect. I mean, honestly, my family, I'm Pooh Bear to them, so it was perfect. Yeah.
I don't like the name though that much. I don't know. I don't like the name. Did it go from Red Dragon to a monkey?
Those are close to home there.
Great, thank you.
Great question.
That's a good question, dude.
Hello. So, my question is, in the movie, when you guys first met Ivan News for the first time, and Kimberly called him Mr. Raisinhead, do you think that was the best insult she could come up with?
Yes,
He's just too nice to be any better.
I know, they should have let Asian take the streets.
I think the whole
we're gonna keep it under PG-13. You son of a mother!
I think that scene was designed to show that we were kind of like a little egotistical about how, the powers that we had, and we didn't, we weren't prepared for, this type of,
Something
evil. Yeah, exactly. So, we were kind of egotistical, and that's what I thought was interesting about that. Yeah, so, for her to call him that was fun.
That's some good writing there.
I still got about 15 minutes left. Looks like we got about 7 questions left. Hello.
Hello. My question is for all 4 of you. I was wondering if you had any favorite moments on the show.
Payday.
That was my least favorite, actually.
That's it?
Very minded.
That's it? All these hours?
Well, now that, minimum wage is like $18, we could have made more money at McDonald's.
Right?
We would have made that much money.
We had so many fun moments. I always say the fun moments were not when we were filming, it was when we were all getting to hang out and get to know each other. It was almost like when we got on the show so fast and we shot like 20 episodes like in a blink, and then they sent us to Australia to shoot the movie. And so that to me has always been my favorite time because that was the time we actually got to know each other. We actually got to hang out and it was like we became friends, and I feel like that's kind of where the friendships began,
Very true.
Yeah. But it was
Definitely nonstop. I mean, so there was some times in that first month and a half before we left Australia that we were working 7 days. We were working on Sundays even.
Yeah.
We had to work a lot because they needed to get a lot of episodes in the can, so to speak, as they call it, to be able to introduce our character. Because I think we had started filming in like around August, I think, and then by the end of September, we were wrapping up, and then those episodes that we filmed were going to air in November. When we were in the middle of filming the movie at that point, so they had to introduce our characters before they could put the movie out. Because otherwise, people would be like, "Who are these strangers?"
Where did it come from?
Yeah, so so we had to act very quickly and work very fast, and we were working 12-hour days, and sometimes we had to work like on Saturday and Sunday too.
It was really great to watch the Power Rangers become great friends as Army and I stood awkwardly in the back. Because we had very little to do in the movie, so we did a lot of sightseeing. Army went out the back of Burke, as they say, and hooked up with a 75-year-old opal miner.
Yep. Yeah. I
Yes,
was
hooked up.
He bought a car. It was all over us.
By the way, that's hooked up is not right.
The old man was like, "You really won't stay with me, right?"
What funny apples. Funny apples, boy.
Yeah, you guys did have a lot more time, but it was fun. Like I think my Army and I really bonded a lot. We both, we were like-minded. We were both like 18, and the drinking age was 18 there. So okay.
I remember, this was actually funny, first car that I rented, I was just mentioning this to somebody the other day, because I was in the UK and I rented a car.
Right.
And I rented a stick shift. So I rented a stick shift, and in Australia, the cars, the wheels on this side, and it's all in steam. I got a car, I got a stick shift. What I need you to do is, you need to sit in the passenger seat. You know how to drive a stick shift, right? Great. Every time I say clutch, you have to shift the gear. And clutch, you shift. Clutch, you shift.
So what, was that because the first gear was on the wrong side?
It's on the wrong side. That was before I had the 3 on the tree.
Okay.
It was a regular old rental car.
So you just couldn't wrap your little pea brain around this?
Yeah, exactly. So it's not okay.
You were brave enough to drive. I would have never done it.
Yeah, I would.
He bought that car.
Yeah. I bought the car.
Ford Falcon.
1965 Ford Falcon. I bought it at auction, which means I didn't get to drive it. I got to see it. And after I paid for it, because I think you came with me to go buy it, right?
I didn't go with you.
Well, that's okay. Somebody else did. So,
Opal guy.
the Opal guy. That's right. I went, God, what? And so when I bought the thing, I got in the car. I saw you guys at the auction running in the car. What the hell? 1, 2, 3. Why is there 3 pedals? Oh, that's a clutch. Where's this? Oh my God, it's a 3 on the tree. Anyone ever hear of a 3 on the tree transmission? Yeah, you know you back there. You know heard about the legend. Old school. It's where your stick shift is up here. I never had driven one in my life, and now I'm driving in a foreign country on the wrong side of the road. This has gotten off topic. We need to stay on topic. Power Rangers, not Fords. Thank you for your question.
I apologize for that.
We're feeling way off the reservation.
It's really good though.
Sorry, guys.
I had a quick question for Jason and Paul pertaining to the Turbo movie. How long did it take to film the scenes on Divatox's ship in the water? How long were you guys in the water?
That'll be 2 days.
That was it?
Yeah, 2 days for us.
Yeah. Well, originally we were filming it off the coast, so we actually had a dive team, and we went off because there's some islands off the coast of California called the Channel Islands, and we had sailed out there, and we were there, and the morning of, we got really bad weather, and they couldn't film. So technically 4 days if you don't count those 2.
That's true. And then the dive master, Al Giddings, who's a famous underwater naturalist, didn't like the fact that I had smuggled rum on board the ship. And he said we were out, and he sent us back to the shore. I was like, he didn't drink it yet!
So, Jack Sparrow.
Why is all the rum gone?
Paulie.
Hello.
Good question.
Well, I really don't have much of a question or a request, but before, I want to say that you guys are great. I've always loved your characters on the show, and for Jason and Paul, you guys are probably the most evolved characters on the show, because first you started off as bullies, then you were semi-bullies but yet investigators trying to find out who the Power Rangers were, and then eventually you tried to become cops just to get girls. Take a space. And
Monkeys.
yeah, better shows, and then you're having a hard time finding a job. You're looking for aliens, space, and then
It's basically the American experience, right? Bully, can't find a job, so look for aliens. Look for a purpose in another universe.
yeah, but then you two started a revolution in the end.
That's true. Yeah. Again, the American experience, right?
I spot this.
Well, anyway, that's what I had to say, but now the request. I know for Steve and Karen, I'm sure you get this a lot, but I gotta ask, and since I know you two have been Power Rangers officially, can I get a little bit more of your time? Please.
It's Morphin time! Tyrannosaurus!
Saber-tooth tiger.
Pizza!
Oh, the door.
Something like a Megalodon.
Some kind of paragon.
Something like a Megalodon.
Hello.
Hey guys, this question is for Steve and Karen. Well, Karen, you answered my question when we chatted on GalaxyCon. Steve, if you had the opportunity to team up with any group of Rangers between Turbo and Ninja Steel, who would you choose and why?
Well, I did team up with Ninja Steel, so when we can all get that one event. I think probably one of my favorite ones is Time Force. So yeah, I mean, and not just because I met all those guys.
It's because of Aaron Gale?
But I just like the idea of the Time Force. I like their suits, I like their storyline, it was cool.
Okay, and would you take Mighty Morphin or Steel if you team up?
So Mighty Morphin, obviously the most iconic to me. It's the one that most everybody recognizes, when it comes to that. So I'm really proud to be part of that. But Zeo was actually my favorite season to work on for what we talked about before because, they gave my character a lot more character, and I feel like the storylines were better. But I was not a big fan necessarily of the Zords from Zeo and, the suits were okay, but yeah. They were different. It was different.
Yeah, the suits looked like a traffic light fell off the pole and it's like.
I always thought they looked like those little, things where the kids put the shapes in the different holes.
Well, the shapes of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's why it was ZO1, ZO2, ZO3. 1 was the whole circle. 2 was the 2 visors. 3 was the triangle. 4 was the rectangle, and 5 was the circle.
He's smart too. He's smart.
I didn't know what you just said.
He passed his shapes in school.
I did.
Good question.
He's smart.
Hello. Kind of like feeling like Steve was with Tom Nolan for a moment.
Oh yeah. You fan right now?
I've been since the beginning for 30 years. But this is more for Eugene and Fargus.
Nice, I love it.
What was it like working with Goldar and Rito? Was there a lot of takes, and were you guys constantly trying to outdo each other?
Well, so you know that we got those suits from the Japanese show, right?
Yeah.
Every year on Power Rangers, there would be a shipment. It was shipment day when giant wooden crates would show up from Japan, and we would open it, and you never know what you're gonna get. And what you usually got was the funk of 1,000 Japanese kids. At least it was funkadelic. And so Dan Stalka and David Wall, who played Rito and Goldar, kind of interchangeably.
We're also the Black Ranger and the Blue Ranger as well in the suit.
And David doubled the Black Ranger and the Blue Ranger in the movie as well.
Yeah.
So those poor guys had to live in that suit. Because once you
Did you say live in that suit?
yeah, suit and suit. I mean, the fact is there's no way to get the human out of those suits after they've been used for 9-10 months. And so that was the primary issue, was that it's they were funky. They were good guys that they soldiered on.
I've never heard that phrase, you can't get the human out of the suit.
Yeah.
It's latex, man. Latex it just sucks everything.
Alright, last question. Oh,
Hey guys, so my question is, working with a legendary actor such as Paul Freeman on the Mighty Morphin movie, what are some of the things that you took out of that experience, working with such an experienced actor, when you guys were still fairly new to the game?
I learned not to ask a brother what he has done since Indiana Jones. The answer was, I lived a life! Sorry, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, you guys probably got to work with them a little bit more than we did, yeah. So that probably is a question more for you guys. I mean, we just got to work with him on basically that one scene for the most part. And I feel like he was really generous,
So generous.
And I feel like he could tell that we, especially at least half of the crew, had not had a lot of experience with acting. He was very generous.
He's just so kind. Like that was one thing. I mean, for him to be so accomplished, and he was so cool, so down. He was always wants to talk. He literally, to this day, he sends me emails. He's just checking on you. I hope that you're okay. Just a nice man. So it's that for me was a great example of someone who's really accomplished and really done it and worked with the biggest of the big, and he's still so down to earth. That's really
He's a
sweet.
lovely man.
Yeah.
So, Paul's first job after the Power Rangers movie is he got hired by American Repertory Theater in Boston, Massachusetts to play Prospero in 12th Night for a 3-week run. Thank you. And so I was talking to him. So as we were finishing shooting the movie, he said, Paul, would you like to come with me to Boston and be my docent? And I was like, I don't know what that is, but okay. And what it meant was to carry the luggage, roll the joints, and cut the pate. So I was his assistant for 3 weeks as he played Prospero in Tempest, and it was amazing. Fantastic repertoire.
Wow, I never knew that.
Well, I didn't want to tell anybody else who was shacking up with Paul for 3 weeks. It was funny when his wife and daughter came for Christmas, she was like, you can go.
and that's going to be our time. One more time, give it up for the cast. I feel like, in the spirit spirit of a birthday, I feel that we should all stand up and all sing happy birthday to Paul.
Come on, you know after 50 something.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.